Now, first topics we're going to look at: configure your Microsoft 365 tenant. And in these sections, we're going to learn configure your 365 experience, manage users, license, and mail contacts in Microsoft 365, manage groups in Microsoft 365, add a custom domain in Microsoft 365, configure client connectivity in Microsoft 365. These are the topics we're going to look at. Now, configure your Microsoft 365 experience. This module, we're going to look at set up your organizational profile, manage your Microsoft 365 subscriptions and tenant, manage your services and add-ins, finalize your tenant. What is a tenant? Tenant means company. Let's say your company name. So initially, when you want to use this Microsoft 365, we need to set up the subscriptions. And after that, we'll be able to use for the company. And tenant means company name, basically. So part of the subscriptions, we have configure your organizational profile in Microsoft 365. A Microsoft 365 subscription is a paid plan that provides access to various Microsoft Cloud services. When an organization signs up for Microsoft 365 subscriptions, Microsoft automatically creates a tenant for the company. The tenant URL that Microsoft creates is based on the domain name provided during the sign up. It typically looks like this. Let's say https:// your company name. Let's say we put, let's say, Sydney 123. That's maybe my, for example, company name. So it will be sydney123.onmicrosoft.com. So whatever company name you provide, they will create one of the website address or URL with that. After that, an organization's Microsoft 365 tenant also includes an Azure Active Directory tenant. Only Global 365 global administrators can edit the organization's profile in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. So once you create this tenant, automatically Azure AD will be there. Azure AD is a directory services similar to on-premises Active Directory domain services, and will be able to manage users, groups, etc. And global administrators. Global administrator is like a role similar to administrator role. So if anyone part of global admin group, they'll be able to manage Microsoft 365 Admin Center. Once you set up your subscriptions, you cannot change the country or region for your subscriptions. A country region where your organization is headquartered determines which services are available to you, the taxes and billing currency, the locations of the Microsoft data center. To change your organization's country region, you must sign up for a new account, choose the desired country region, and purchase the new subscriptions. So that means once you set up your trial account, you'll not be able to make any changes with your locations or region, because tax, currency, and many other things will be related with that. In case if you want to change it, you need to sign up with another subscriptions, basically. That's what I'm saying. Manage your tenant subscriptions in Microsoft 365. So maintaining minimum subscriptions requirements for your company is essential to remaining functional. Minimum subscriptions. So we're going to look at in details what subscriptions we have. Purchasing additional license changes monthly billing date. You can review all active and deprovisioned license from the license page located under the billing group in the admin center. Additional actions that can be performed from the license page include add a partner of record, add a subscriptions, convert subscriptions. So in this way, we'll be able to see the subscriptions and license availability, license assign or assignment. So these are the area we're going to work. Now integrate Microsoft 365 with customer engagement apps. You may need to assign additional license, such as Project Video, Visio, Scheduler, or Microsoft Stream. So for some of the specific applications, we need to purchase separate license. For example, my Project Online, Microsoft Visio, Scheduler, or Microsoft Stream. These add-on services can be found in the purchase service page, which is located under the billing group in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center navigation pane. Some of the subscriptions provide a standard 30 days trial before the service add-on expires and must be paid for to re-enable. The product comparison page shows a detailed comparison of the features and capabilities of products you select. So complete your tenant configuration. So consider the following questions before adding custom domain to your Microsoft 365 tenant. Have all users have been moved over to Microsoft 365? So what is a custom domain? Let's say Microsoft will provide us some on Microsoft.com domain, but we can convert that domain to our company domain. For example, is saying when you sign up with any subscriptions, you'll get, let's say, Sydney 123.onmicrosoft.com. This is the domain Microsoft will create for you initially. But maybe we do not want Microsoft on Microsoft.com because that's not our domain. We want something, let's say, we want like that. Let's say Sydney123.com.au. Maybe this is our company domain. So you can set up our company domain and everything. But before that, we have to take care of a few things. It's saying that have all the users been moved over to Microsoft 365? We need to check that. Do the users have a functional mailbox and has their data been migrated to their account? Have all the resources been created? Have all permissions been established? Has the vanity domain been moved successfully? Have all Windows 10 and 11 devices been enrolled to Intune? So has your company established proper governance policy for mobile devices? Have the DNS records have been updated and published globally? That means before you move to your company domain, all these things we need to manage. If the AD Connect is in place, is the connector properly configured? If multi-factor authentication is employed, has it been properly configured? It's kind of like a checklist. We need to go through this checklist, and then after that, we add custom domain. After the mailing policies in place to protect inbound and outbound mail flow, is the organizational profile set up with the correct information? So organizations can use tools such as Microsoft Remote Connectivity Analyzer, which is RCA, and the Microsoft Support and Recovery Assistance to confirm their deployments, configurations, and readiness. These tools check DNS records and mail flow to test whether mailing policies working properly. They also test local connectivity from Outlook and other Office apps. So let's say how to create subscriptions. We go to Office 365, plan and pricing. Once you search that options, Office 365, plan and pricing, this one, Microsoft 365 for home, plan and pricing. So once you go there, this is online. We can see we have some of the stuffs, but we want to see details, informations, see plans and pricing. In here, we have plan and pricing for home. Home is for home user. So Microsoft 365 family, part of that Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and many other things you'll get. Or Microsoft 365 personal, $69 per year, and you get this stuff. That is for try 1 month for free, and this one also you get for one person, but this one for up to 6 people. This is more on for home. So, but we're going to look at for business. So let's click on business. Okay, so this is more on Microsoft 365 Business Basic. So this is more for business. So part of the business, we have Business Basic, Business Standard, Business Premium, and Microsoft 365 Apps for Business. These are the individual plan we have. And Business Basic, part of that, we have web and mobile versions of Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook only. That's more on mobile or online versions. But if you go down a bit, you will be able to see better. It has cloud, means Microsoft Teams, OneDrive, SharePoint, Exchange. You'll get everything in the cloud. And this one, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, web and mobile, from that you can use. That means everything you can use online. But this one, if you go with Microsoft 365 Business Standard, you'll get all the Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, Teams, OneDrive. You can download, and also you can install inside your computers, and you'll be able to use, because this one has desktop. So desktop, web, mobile, from everywhere you'll be able to use these services. If you go to Business Premium, which is $22 per month, you can use them, all of them you have. And in addition, you have Microsoft Intune and Azure Information Protections. These are some of the advanced features we have. So these are the basic standard premium. These are the things we have. And Microsoft 365 Apps for Business, part of that, this is only for these applications. Let's say I want to install Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint in my computers. Then I can maybe go with this one. It doesn't have any other things. It has only this stuff. It doesn't have any, for example, any email. Exchange means email. It doesn't have other stuff, but it just have the applications. So some of the services you can just you can access from online, but many context we want to use things on premises. Let's say I'm using my PowerPoint slides. This is I'm using, I have installed this one and I'm using this one. So based on the business requirements, we need to select the plan. Let's say you have many users in your company, maybe hundreds of users, but 50% user, they just simply working from remote areas, different places. They do not want to install anything. So that kind of scenario, this $6 per month, that should be sufficient, because they can use all these services online. But maybe some people, they prefer to install applications and everything. They are in their laptop. They want everything to be installed. So that kind of scenario, maybe Business Standard. And some cases, maybe your management, they want Intune and Azure Information Protection, this kind of features. If they want these kind of features, you need to have this Business Premium, this license. But if some people, they say we do not need any other thing, just need applications, so they can purchase this one. So pretty much these are the application services we have in the cloud. They have very details in here. So when you purchase, when you select some subscriptions, during or like when you're troubleshooting, and some user, they want to get some of this stuff. So that time you need to check the license and see whether they have proper license to use that particular applications. In here we have very detailed informations, but if you go down a bit, we have explore Microsoft 365. Part of that, we have compare enterprise plans. If I click on enterprise plan, so this one, I'll send you the link as well, because understanding license is one of the important part. Now over there we have Microsoft 365 for enterprise, compare enterprise plan. Click on this one. Yeah, so this is in Australian dollar, AU. If I go for business, so this is the things we have for business. The same thing, only the pricing. Now, if you go down all the way, you'll see this compare enterprise plan. We click on this one. we can see we have E3, E5, and Microsoft 365 F3. E3 means get best in class productivity apps. So this one, what we have Microsoft 365 apps. All of the apps you'll get. See this one, $52.20 per month. This is E5. So E5 is the highest level of license. Pretty much it will cover many stuffs, many applications, email, Exchange, and many security features. It will cover many Windows 11, 10, 11 license as well. E3 means enterprise, and E3 and E5 is the major one. This is just applications. It's just $11. But if you looked at here, $52 and $78. So if you go down, you can get all the applications, email and calendar, Teams, meetings, voice, desktop and app management, Windows. See, you can manage many aspects of Windows stuff from here. Internet, all of them. File and content, you get part of all of them. Work management, some of the planner, Power Apps, Power Automate, virtual agents. So those are the things we have as well. Advanced analytics, if you want to use Power BI Pro and Microsoft or Viva Insights, you need to go with E5. That's where you have some difference. See, the E5 is required. Identity and access management, E5. Then information protection, security management, compliance management. These are the things special for comes under E5 license. So this plan, we need to have idea around that, because when you're managing some features, when you're configuring something, we need to check what license user they have. Now, if I log in, okay. So this is, I have one of the subscriptions. This is, I'm just checking like what subscriptions I have. Once I logged in to 365 portal, I can see this is my subscriptions, which is Enterprise Mobility Plus Security E5 trial. This is the subscriptions we have. So if you want to configure, you can set up this trial account. It's a free trial account you can set up. You just need to say online, you go to say, when you go to plans and pricing, for example, E3, E5, or if you go back, there is somewhere, there's a trial. So learn more. For example, Microsoft 365 E5, over there, there's a one options for trial. Or if you can't find in here, you can simply search online. So if you select one of the E3 license, pretty much you can do all kind of practices. Or if you go with business premium, also you'll be able to do many stuff. See the try free for 1 month. So you just go there and sign up. Then in this way, you'll be able to use this. Now, at the moment, if I go there, let's say this is my trial subscriptions. I can work in here. So once I go to my admin center, so in here, I can create some users, let's say active users. For example, I'll create add user, name Jonathan. So Jonathan at zontoso1.onmicrosoft.com. I can create, automatically create a password. Yeah, I can create your password, require user to change their password. Yep, I'll click on next. And let's say Enterprise Mobility Plus E5 license. We can provide, at the moment, user will be user role, click next. After that, we can finish adding. So this is your username and password. So you can log in with that username and password. Okay. So let's log into this portal. So you go to Office 365 login, and then you'll be able to log in. Office 365 login. So I have logged in already. That's why it's just taking me over there. But you go to sign into your account or Office 365 login. You can use your username and password. So this trial account, once you go through that trial, let's say once you go through try for free trial account. So that's what I did. But I actually go for E3 licenses. Sorry, E5 licenses. Microsoft 365 E5. I sign up with the free subscriptions. Once I sign up and follow the prompt, now after that I can log into this portal. And this is my portal looks like. If I go to home, it's saying that finish setting up your Microsoft Teams exploratory. And there are some other things we have. But if I want to see the subscriptions, I can go to billing under that your products. If I go there, I can see this is the subscriptions. This is a kind of like free trial account I'm using at the moment. Okay, so I'll show you how to log in. Let's have a look. But this is a very simple thing to log in. So I'll show you how to log in. Okay, just let's have a look. So I'll reset this password, or I don't know which password I can check from here actually. Yeah, this is the password, right? If I want to log in, I'm going to open maybe another browser, because I already logged in with one user account in here. But if I want to log in, I'll say Office 365 login and hit enter. So it will give me some options. Let's do login in here. Let's say login Microsoft 365. So when you search in Google, you see like main point is log into this Office 365 account. See the login here, click here. And then it will give you the options to log in. At the moment, I already have many different kind of, that's why it's showing these stuff, but I'll just say sign in with a different account. Use another account. So in here, I'm going to use your account, which is mittel@johntoso1.onmicrosoft.com. And then click next. And then I need to put the password. I put the password which I sent it to you and click sign in. After that, it should simply password accepted. After that is asking action required. Your organization requires additional security informations. Follow the prompts to download and set up Microsoft Authenticator app. So these steps you need to follow. But if you do not want to go through that, you say you have 14 days until this required. You can say ask later. But still is saying more information is required. You cannot bypass. So you need to click next. After that, same account. After that, ask later and see whether it's allowing or not. But it still is asking, you need to put the phone number. So you need to select your country, Australia. You need to put your mobile phone number because it's required security. So when you log in via your phone number, then it may send you SMS or something in your mobile phone number, and in this way you'll be able to log in. So this is a secure process. Okay. So once you set up, then you'll be able to access this. You'll be able to log in initially, and later on, based on the permissions level, you'll be able to access the resources. So if I want to provide access, I need to go to, just click on that user. I need to change the role. At the moment, you have user role, but from the admin center, there's many different roles we have. Let's say user administrators, Teams administrator, service or helpdesk administrators. So these are the administrators login we're going to provide you. In this way, you'll be able to log into admin. And later on, you need to create some trial account to see, how you can create these subscriptions. Is a free trial account. Okay. So some administrative level permissions has been provided to you, so you'll be able to log in with that as well. Okay, these are the things we have looked at. So next section is going to look at more on manage user license and everything. All right, so these sections we're going to look at manage users license and mail contacts in Microsoft 365. So as your organization's Microsoft 365 administrator, you'll be responsible for creating and managing user accounts for all your users. So this section is going to look at understanding user identities, creating and managing user accounts, managing user licenses, recovering deleted user accounts, create and manage guest users, create and manage mail contacts, right? These are the topics we're going to look at. Now, determine the user identity model for your organizations. To plan user identities, you must first understand the different user identities in Microsoft 365 model. We have cloud identities, synchronized identities, federated identities. Identity means, for example, we have used Active Directory domain services. Active Directory domain services, with that, you can create users, groups, co-use, etc. So in Microsoft 365 identity model, we have three different options. First one, there's no on-premises, everything is in the cloud. Now currently we have everything in the cloud, right? We can go to our Office 365 portal and we can create user, reset password, assign license, pretty much all the management we can do from there. Now, Microsoft 365 synchronized identity, that means on premises we may have Active Directory domain services, and in the cloud we have also Azure Directory Service, and we can establish the sync in between two directory services. That could be one of the options. Another options, it could be you have on-premises directory service, and in the cloud we have also directory service, but we using federation service, Active Directory Federation Service, we can extend these applications. So this section we're going to look at manage users, license, and mail contacts in Microsoft 365. And part of these sections, mostly we're going to look at understanding user identities, creating and managing user accounts, managing user licenses, recovering deleted user accounts, create and manage guest users, create and manage mail contacts. These are the topics mostly we're going to look at. Now, Microsoft 365 identity model for your organization. To plan user identities, you must first understand the different user identities in the Microsoft 365 identity model. So what is identity? Identity means, let's say, login details, username, password, all these kind of login details. In our Office 365, the account we created today, let's say this is our account. In our account, we can create user. Once you log into the admin portal, you can go to users. Under that, we have users, contacts, guest users, deleted users. Under teams and groups, we have active teams and groups, policies, deleted groups, and so on. Now, at first, active users, let's say in our Office 365 portal, we can create new user. I'll add a user and name it, let's say, Milan. Okay, this is one of the username. You can put last name as well, but in this scenario, I just put the display name and say Milan. So Milan at zontoso1.onmicrosoft.com. This is our domain, default domain, and we can create password as well. Automatically, it will create some password when user try to log into this email address or in this portal. That time they have to change the password. Then click next. Then we can assign license. Let's say from here we have 250 license. So this user, I'm going to assign one license. So this license pretty much it will cover all the apps and everything, because E5 license pretty much it's cover all the apps. There are some other license options we have, but this one will be sufficient for us. After that, or if you want to see the details, if you go down there, look at that. All the Active Directory, Azure 365 audit, and many different stuffs it will cover. Then click next. So roles means whether we want to make this user as a user role, or we want to provide this user some administrative roles. We can actually select from here. In this case, we're just creating normal user, so we leave it default and click next. After that, you can see the details. This is the username. Password, automatically it will be generated. License, which already we have assigned. And role means what this user will be able to do. So user will be able to do the user level task, no admin center access. We leave it like that and finish adding. In this way, we can add this user and click close. In this way, I have created this user. Now, this is our cloud services. So everything we can see from the cloud. And this is Microsoft Office 365 portal. Now, there are another locations we have. If we go down all the way, over there we have security, compliance, endpoint managers, and many other things. But we'll click all admin centers. Let's click on that one. And over there, we have Azure ATP, compliance, exchange, and many other tabs. So all these services you'll be able to manage, and for that we have separate admin portal. So if I click on Azure Advanced Threat Protections, then it will open another tab. So I need to log in again. Okay, it's taking me over there, 365 Defender. But actually, I wanted to show you Azure Active Directory. So if I logged in here, say Azure AD login, and hit enter. Sign into Microsoft Azure. And from the menu, we'll go to Azure Active Directory, because we'd like to see the Azure Active Directory, that part. And once you logged into Azure Active Directory and click on users, you can see the same users we created today. All the user we can see from here. So that means this Active Directory, this is Azure AD, Azure Active Directory, you can see. So in here, we can create users, groups. This is similar to on-premises Active Directory domain services. So this Azure AD we can use for many other purposes, but this is same as your Microsoft 365 portal. So if you go to your active users, you can see all the users from here. So there means same user you can manage from Microsoft 365 Admin Center. Also, we have Azure Active Directory. From there, you can manage these users, groups, and there are many other stuffs which you're going to look at later on. Okay. Now let's go back to slide. You can see here User identity model for your organizations, we can use Microsoft 365 Cloud Identity, which you are using at the moment. We do not have any on-premises servers, but we can use on-premises servers. Maybe some company, they have Microsoft 365 services. Also, they have on-premises services. In this way, we can have directory connectivity, directory service connectivity. Or another options we have, on-premises, we have identity servers, and with Active Directory Federation services, we can connect to our 365 portal. That is another authentication method. But these days, majority of the businesses, we are using middle one, in where we have on-premises Active Directory services, and in the cloud, we have directory services. And we can actually establish the sync from on-premises to cloud with Azure AD Connect. So practically, we're going to look at this one later on. Let's say we have some servers in here. This is our Hyper-V managers. In here, we have, oh, this one PC is running, so just shut down the PC. But we have, let's say this DC. So later on, we're going to use this one. This is Active Directory Domain Services we have. Okay. Now create user accounts. Depending on your needs, you can use the following methods. You can create user account from admin center, which I have done right now. Import multiple users. Like let's say if you have maybe many users, 50 users you want to import, you can type all the user account in Excel sheet on premises, and from that you can import in the cloud as well. We can use PowerShell or directory synchronizations. You can, some people, they love to use PowerShell, which is a scripting language. With that, you can create user. Directory synchronizations, maybe on premises, you can log into cloud, and your on premises Active Directory domain services, we can sync with cloud. And in this way, all the user account will sync as well. So you're going to look at all these options later on. Now, manage user account settings in Microsoft 365. Managing user accounts involves managing several account settings, such as assigning administrator roles, setting users, sign-in status, specify user location settings, assign licenses. So we can assign license, we can disable user, we can enable user, we can disable sign-in options, we can provide different roles to that users. You can use the Microsoft 365 Admin Center to edit single or multiple users. Manage user license, so we can assign licenses. We can license required for many different services or applications. We need to have a proper license part of our subscriptions, and we can assign the license to our user. Only members of global admin and user admin can assign or remove licenses. To assign a license, you can use the Microsoft 365 Admin Center or Windows PowerShell. So this one is just saying, let's say, if I go to 365 portal, same user, if I want to make any changes for the user, say manage product license, manage groups, edit username, delete user, I can do all of this stuff. But if I simply click on this user, you can reset the password, you can block sign in, you can delete the user. These are all, kind of like user-friendly or, GUI-based settings. You can go there, license and apps, you can remove license as well. Okay. Or there are some other, options. There are many different settings we have in here. But management means resetting the password, maybe sometimes block the user if user, not using this or shouldn't be using the services, then you need to block. You can remove the license, add licenses. Also, you can work with roles. For example, roles, manage roles. Under that, we can make someone admin. Let's say if I select admin center access, I can make this user as user administrator, for example, or helpdesk administrator. So this user then perform this particular task, reset password, create and manage users, groups, etc. Okay, so these are the tasks we'll be able to perform from here. Now, once you delete the user, if you delete the user, we'll be able to recover that user as well. So we have 30 days to recover our user. Once you delete, we'll be able to recover that user as well. Perform bulk user maintenance in Azure AD. Let's say Azure AD enables organizations to perform bulk user maintenance transactions to create new user account, delete existing user account, or restore delete user account. Usually we are using a CSV file. CSV file means kind of Excel file. Over there we can have many users. We can import them. We can make some changes for those users as well. So for the bulk operations, we are using those CSV or comma separated value template. Now create and manage guest user. Guest user means someone do not have like our domain username. Maybe someone has Gmail or Yahoo Mail. We can add those user in our Office 365 as well. They are the guest user. Sometimes, let's say we'd like to share some files or going to provide some access to them. That kind of scenario, we can actually create these stuffs. And contact, create and manage mail contact. Contact is, let's say, user details informations you kept as a contact. In Exchange Online, mail contacts are mail-enabled objects that contain information about people who exist outside the organization. So each mail contact has an external email address. The email contact is visible in your organization's global address list. So contact means from the user. Let's say if I click on contacts, I don't have any contacts, but I can add a contact in here and keep the username, email address, company, phone number, kind of like a directory we can maintain. So pretty much this section is talking about all these users and everything. Now let's create a couple of users. So Jonathan and Mittal, if you could create user from there. Could you please create one user? You can use any name. You can create a new user, assign license, which is in our case, this is E5 license, and assign role as like a user admin role, okay? And create, okay, guest user, I'll show you, but these three things you can create. And let's say if I want to add any guest user, let's say I can add a user. In here, if I say Zahid and Gmail. So no, not this one, sorry. If I want to invite someone, not from here, let's say add a user, but in here you can add normal user. See, there's a guest user, so I want to actually invite someone as a guest. Guest user, add a guest user. It's asking me to log in again. Yeah, it's actually taking me to this place and say select template, say invite user. Invite user, I'll say Zahid Gmail. Email address zahid.itraud@gmail.com. First name Zahid, last name Gmail. So it's if someone is outside the Office 365 network, we can invite them as a guest user. So I'm going to invite this person, and there are many other things. I'll just select only the necessary stuffs at the moment. Usage location Australia, job title, they're not mandatory. I click on invite. Once I click invite, it will send one email to that person. Yep. And once I go to inbox, see refresh. Yeah, Microsoft invitations. If I click on that one, see sender admin@gentoso.com, and this is the things happen. Say if you accept these invitations, you'll be sent to this directory. Okay, accept invitation. So once you do that, it's asking me to log in, but I'm not going to log in at the moment. But if I go there and refresh, say this is the user we found. But if you want to assign licenses, you can assign actually, yes, you can assign. But if you assign, then is these users they'll be able to perform certain task, or because let's say the reason why you assigning the user because you want to provide some access to somewhere. That is the main reason. After that, you can delete your user. Let's say I have created my user, which is Milan. If I delete this one, I can delete the user from here. Delete means maybe user they leave the job. Usually when they leave the job, still we disable the account and keep the user for the time being. But in case, let's say, whatever reason, if you want to delete, you can delete the user. Yeah, it's saying that you can restore deleted users within 30 days. So if you delete from there, it should have the same impact because it's get deleted. It will not be in here as well. So it will go to deleted user. Once it goes to deleted user, license should be back as per normal. So that means whether you delete from here or Azure Active Directory, it will remove the license. So these are the tasks you can do in this section. Now, managing groups in Microsoft 365. So this section is going to look at create and managing groups, creating dynamic groups using my Azure Rule Builder, creating a Microsoft 365 group naming policy, create groups in Exchange Online and SharePoint Online. So what is a groups? Group means sharing purposes. This is very important. Let's say if I want to share something with 5 people, and if that 5 people they are in particular group, then you can share our resources with that group. In this way, all 5 people they will get that resources. So you can use groups to manage sets of users at the same time in Microsoft 365. Supported types of groups in Microsoft 365 include Microsoft 365 group, distribution group, mail-enabled security groups, and dynamic distribution groups. These are the all different kind of groups we have, but majority of the cases, part of Microsoft 365, we are using Microsoft 365 group. But we have some other options as well, like security groups also, we have distribution groups also, we have. Distribution groups is used for email distribution purposes. Let's have a look bit more details around that. You can use Microsoft 365 Admin Center or PowerShell to create security groups in the Microsoft 365. To ensure that you create and manage user groups correctly, you should consider the following best practice. Keep your group naming convention simple but clear. Group means, let's say, for example, sales, marketing, accounting, like that. Should have a meaningful names. Create policies and procedures for ongoing group maintenance. Add users to security groups and then add those security groups to the default groups rather than adding individual users to the default groups. Maintain a consistent and well-defined account provisioning process. Creating dynamic groups. So organizations can use rules to determine group membership. Rules can be based on user or device properties in Azure AD. Microsoft 365 supports dynamic membership for security groups and Microsoft 365 groups. So when an attribute changes for a user or device, and the system examines all dynamic groups rules in the organizations for membership changes. It then adds or removes users and devices if they meet the conditions for a group. So some of the rules we have govern dynamic group membership. Let's say you cannot manually add or remove a member in a dynamic group. So that will be add based on the policy. You can create dynamic group for device or users, but you cannot create a rule that contains both users and devices. You cannot create a device group based on the user attributes of the device owner. Device membership rules can only reference device attributes. So create Microsoft 365 group naming policy. A group naming policy enforces a consistent naming strategy for groups created by users. Microsoft 365 applies the policy to the group name and group alias. A naming policy can help users identify the functions of the group, memberships and geographic regions, or who created the group. Some policies can block users from using a specific word in the group name and alias. You can enter a comma-separated list of blocked words that system block in group names and alias. These are the policy and setup we can do. But we should follow some best practice. Let's say use short strings as suffix, use attributes with values. Don't be too creative. The system allows maximum name length 264 characters, which is very long name. Upload your organization's specific block words to restrict usage. So groups in Exchange Online and SharePoint Online. You can use Exchange Admin Center to create the following groups. Let's say distribution group, security groups, and dynamic distribution group. So we're going to look at a bit more details around that. SharePoint groups are created automatically when you make a site collections. A security group you create in SharePoint is only recognized by that SharePoint site collection. You don't need security groups to be secure. You can always grant user permissions and access to sites individually, but with security groups, you can easily manage larger groups of users. So let's have a look at some of the stuff around groups. If I go to my portal, I can click on active teams and groups. Okay. In here, Microsoft 365, I have some groups already been created automatically. So basically, there are many of them. I don't need all of them. I'm going to delete them. So this is default group. So this is Microsoft 365 group. Then you have distribution list, mail enable security, and security groups, basically. Some security groups automatically created based on the requirements, and sometimes we create as well. But let's say Microsoft 365 group, I can add a group, and it's saying that choose what kind of type. So again, we have these 4 types. First one, create a group email to collaborate. You can also add Microsoft Teams for groups, conversions, files, and calendars. Distribution groups usually create an email address for a group of people, like a group email address. Mail enables security, a distribution list that can also be used to control access to OneDrive and SharePoint. And security controls access to OneDrive and SharePoint and can be used for mobile device management for Microsoft 365. It's similar, but it extra layer of things you'll be able to do if you are part of security group. But Office 365 point of view, majority of the time you'll have a Microsoft 365 account. So I'll click on next. I can say, sales group. That means maybe sales user group, like that. Next, add owners. Let's say I can say Zahid, or like admin. I'm actually working as admin. This person is the owner. Click next. I have to add some members. Click add members. Admin. Amit, Mitchell, Jonathan, John Smith. Pretty much you can put many people. So these people, they'll be part of these members. Click next. And it's saying the group email address because we have few people. We can create some groups, say sales user group, sales user at zontoso1 on Microsoft.com is a public. And also same time, you can create a team for this group as well. Teams we are using for collaboration purposes. So you can create that one. Click next. And this is the group types, basics, owners, and everything we have. And you can create group. So these groups is useful, let's say later on when you want to share something, at that time you need a groups. You have to apply some policy, you need a group. So usually Microsoft 365 point of view, this one is required, but distribution list we can create in this way. This is kind of like a more on email distribution. So add a group, distribution, next, say for example, staff. Staff email address or staff or all staff, for example. Click next. Assign owner. You have to have at least one owner. Okay. Select up to 20 people. You can add more than 20 people. Okay, at the moment it's not showing the owners or founds, but that's okay. You can add the owner members, exactly same thing, but it will just create one of the email account called allstaff@zontoso1.com pretty much. We'll check this one later on. It's maybe some time stuff. It may take a bit of time. And security, we do not need to create at the moment, but based on some of the features, if we want to enable that time, automatically it will create some security group. But we can create, let's say managers one. This is we created like earlier. So, or my device group one. This is we created for different purposes. Let's say we want to put all the users under user group, all the devices on the device means Windows computer. So those devices we want to put under device group. That is the purpose we have created this one. But all the group systems you can manage from here, active teams and groups. If you delete some group, you'll find those groups under this deleted one. Oh, many of them. So this sections is all about these groups. Now add a custom domain. So plan a custom domain for your Microsoft 365 deployment. Plan the DNS zones for a custom domain. Plan the DNS record requirements for a custom domain. Create a custom domain in Microsoft 365. Plan a custom domain for your Microsoft 365 domain, multiple domains, subdomains, domain numbers, adding order, DNS record, access DNS console, all these things we have. Now, how these naming things functions, let's have a look. Let's say when you create our initial subscriptions, we have to provide some tenant, which is sydney123.onmicrosoft.com. In this case, Sydney123 is our company name or tenant. Now, currently, when a person send any email, so it will go to this domain, and every domain we have also DNS. What is the DNS? DNS is a database. It's contain name and IP address informations of a device of services. Now, currently, when you send email will go to Sydney123 this domain, and from that it will go to some destinations, another person, source and destinations. But this is not your domain on Microsoft.com. This is more on Microsoft domain. But let's say if you want to add a custom domain, let's say your company domain name is sydney123.com.au. If you want to add that one, you can add it. So Microsoft will just verify that whether you're the right owner or not. After that, they will create some DNS record and saying that your email should go through that particular domain, which is this one. So basically, this is the particular domain. So once you configure some resource record, your email will be routed via this domain. So this PC will send the email. Email will use the DNS entry from this particular domain, and then after that, traffic will send over there. Currently, it's going from here, but once you add custom domain, email will be routed via this domain. So that is more on custom domain. So we need to add custom domain for our environment. Plan the DNS zones for custom domain. When an organization owns a DNS zone, the Microsoft 365 wizard can help create the tenant with the organization's custom domain, such as adobe.com, and instruct the organizations on which DNS records it must add to the public DNS zone. So if you add any separate domain, you need to add these domain IP address informations and name informations in our DNS database. Organizations use internal DNS zones configured on internal DNS server so that internal clients can resolve the computer name and services. Organizations use external public DNS zones configured on internet accessible DNS servers so that clients located on the internet can resolve computer names and services. So organizations have the following options to host the DNS zones for custom domain. Have a third-party provider such as GoDaddy host the DNS zone for the custom domain. Host the DNS zone on premises by deploying DNS servers. So plan the DNS record requirements. So once you using different domain, let's say your custom domain, that time you need to put these informations. Let's say if someone want to send email, which IP address they should use. IP address is related with the services. If someone want to do Skype communications or Teams communications or sharing something with OneDrive, all these things will be part of this DNS. DNS will store all the types of resource and their name, and in many cases name and IP address informations they will store over there. Created custom domain, you can see that contoso.onmicrosoft.com. This is like more on Microsoft, they provide this web address, but we have to make changes. We want to say only contoso.com, and we need to write that text record in this cloud over there. So in the DNS we have the name and text record. It will be verified. Once verified, you'll be able to use your custom domain name. So in our context, let's have a look. If you go to users and teams we have looked at, if you go down a bit, over there we have our settings. Under that we have domains. Okay, if I click on that one, this is the default domain provided by Microsoft, right? But this is not our company, domain, because they said on Microsoft.com. But usually company want to add their domain. Let's say if I say add domain and say zontoso1.com.au, for example, and use this domain, because we want to use this domain, then it's saying that verify your domain. Like Microsoft want to know you are the owner for this domain. Otherwise, anybody can make changes. So that's why they're asking. And they're saying that add a text record to the domain DNS record. That means they want to make sure like you're the right person, authorized person to make these changes. So they are asking you to create this record or add this record to the current DNS servers, just for verification purposes. They want to verify that you are the correct person or not, because if you are the owner of this domain, or if you have ownership's access, then you'll be able to add this domain. But in my case, I do not know the details of this domain, so I click on continue. After that, it say add a record to verify ownership, but I don't have any access to that domain, so I cannot make changes. But this is the record we have to put. After that, click verify. When you say verify, it's saying verifications failed because you need to have a proper domain and stuff. I'll show you this part later on with the actual domain, but at the moment I want to show that when you add a domain, you go through this process. After that, it will pass or fail. If it is failed, you can try again, fix something and try again. But if it is not working, so basically we go back to domain again. And now look at that. This one is default healthy, and this one I want to add but incomplete setup. The reason why I don't know the login details for zontoso1.com.au, that's why. If I have the login details, all you have to do is just log in, and you don't have to configure anything. Automatically Microsoft will configure the DNS record and everything. Yeah, see the default in here, you can see clearly this is the default domain provided by Microsoft. So if I click on this one, and I can see the DNS record. At the moment, there's no DNS record because it's not pointing or forwarding anything to anywhere. But once you add that informations, if you add any other domain, and if you verify, and if you have any resource record, so this resource record will have information under this DNS. It's kind of like you can see everything from here as well. So how to add a custom domain? Process is you go to domain, add a domain, and you put the domain name, whatever domain name you have, like sydney123.com.au, abc.com.au, any domain you can put here. But you need to follow the prompt. You need to verify the domain. Also, after that, connect to the domain. These steps you need to follow. Now, configure client connectivity. These sections we have understand how automatic client configuration works. understand which DNS records are required for automatic client configurations, configure Outlook clients, configure client connectivity. So Microsoft Outlook includes an auto-discover features that automatically configure Outlook to connect to Exchange Online without the need to manually configure the user connection settings. Outlook users receive their required connection settings from either Exchange Online or on-premises Exchange servers the first time they sign into their email address and password. Based on the email address informations and auto-discovery record on the internet located DNS, client locate the auto-discover service in the Microsoft 365. So auto-discover is one of the features, and with these features, our Outlook, Microsoft Outlook functions. So let's say DNS is very important part. Any service is running, DNS will keep track of that information. Some of the services, especially, let's say, Exchange email, or I make it simple. I just put email, remove the Exchange part, okay? Your email, OneDrive, SharePoint, Teams, right? Teams, Microsoft Teams. So all these services, they are the servers. They're running on top of some servers. That server's information and their IP address information is important. Let's say I have to send some email. I'm looking for email server. If I want to use OneDrive, I need OneDrive service servers informations. So if I want to use Teams, I need Microsoft Teams informations. All this information is actually located under DNS. So DNS help us to find some services. I want to send email, so DNS will help me to send the email to correct servers, via correct servers. If I want to communicate via Teams, my communications will go to Teams servers. So we need to locate Teams servers. So usually in the cloud environment, we do not need to make any changes. But if you have a on-premises, then sometimes you need to configure these stuffs. So DNS requirements for client configurations for Outlook and Skype for Business clients. Skype for Business, Microsoft is not promoting anymore, but some businesses they may have from long back. So Outlook and Skype for Business clients automatically locate the services in Microsoft 365 using the auto discover process. You must configure the appropriate DNS record on publicly available DNS servers on the internet. So it's locate the service Microsoft 365 auto discovery process. But if you have any other DNS servers publicly available, you need to configure this resource record over there. So let's say once you have that sydney123.com.au, this domain, under this domain we have this DNS record. Under this one we have DNS record. This record we need to write down. Let's say our domain and all this DNS and everything maybe hosting by GoDaddy. GoDaddy is another provider. They provide this. You can purchase domain. You can configure DNS and all these stuffs. So that kind of scenario, we need to configure this one. But in our context, let's say we have our email services. If I go there, this menu bar, I can go to explore all apps, all the apps we have. But if I go to menu again, yeah, Teams we have. There are many other apps we have. Yeah, there are many different apps we have in here. For example, OneDrive probably. Yeah, so that's my OneDrive. I have some files and stuffs maybe, but it's new, so we do not have anything. But you can see this is the record means Exchange Online. Exchange Online means email informations. For that, we need to have this kind of resource record need to configure in the DNS. Auto Discover service for Outlook. CNAME, this is Auto Discover service configures Outlook for users in Exchange Federation scenarios. This record is optional and it is needed when you deploy Exchange in a hybrid configurations in Microsoft 365. CNAME, Skype for Business, used by the Skype for Business clients to find the Skype for Business online service, Microsoft 365 sign-in. And that server address is cipdid.online.link.com. This is a very old servers. Skype for Business also using webdid.online.link.com, these services. Skype for Business is similar to Microsoft Teams. So this is older versions. So some company, maybe they're using this one at the moment. Now configure Outlook client means you can download and you can use this Outlook. Outlook client means, let's say I have my Outlook info. So I can configure from here. Let's say this is Outlook, on-premises Outlook. So you can set up on-premises Outlook. Usually they shouldn't have any issues unless some firewall blocks some port, but some of the protocol, this diagram showing that encapsulations of MAPI commands in RPC calls, MAPI command in RPC calls in HTTP package, and MAPI commands directly in HTTP package. This is more on, say, Outlook connects to Microsoft 365 by using Messaging Applications Programming Interface, which is MAPI over HTTP. So this MAPI over HTTP places the MAPI command directly to HTTP package. This one, we don't have to do any configuration. This is just more on informations that how Outlook clients communicate. So Outlook clients using this kind of protocol, let's say maybe RPC or maybe RPC and HTTP both, or maybe only HTTP. But if you think about like old to new, at the moment, simply we using that MAPI HTTP protocol. After Outlook connects to the Exchange servers, Exchange server determines whether the user's mailbox is in an on-premises environment or in Microsoft 365. So this Exchange providing us all email address and everything. So we have Exchange Online, which is kind of like Microsoft Exchange servers in online. If we'd like to see, we can go to Admin Center. Admin Center open here. Under that, we have Exchange. See the Exchange servers. If I click on this one, it will ask me to log in again, but it will take me to Exchange servers. Exchange server means all email and everything we can create from here. Yeah, user mailbox, groups, some of the groups we have created, resources, it has many stuffs. But this is the, you can see that Exchange Admin Center. That means all email related stuffs you'll be able to manage from here. Let's go back. This is the main page. Cool. So pretty much these users, they have this kind of all licenses and stuffs. And sometimes maybe if user cannot access particular, apps, then we have some troubleshooting steps. Let's say Microsoft provides the following tools that you can use to analyze connectivity issues in Microsoft 365 deployment. Microsoft Remote Connectivity Analyzer tool, which is called RCA, and another one, Microsoft 365 Support and Recovery Assistance, SARA. So from the cloud, we can access, and from on-premises, you can access as well. It's the same thing. Remote Connectivity Analyzer is the cloud-based applications. And when you download, you can use this Microsoft Support and Recovery Assistance tools. So Microsoft Remote Connectivity Analyzer tool, if I go to online and say your Microsoft Remote Connectivity Analyzer, if I go there, and this is see the Microsoft Remote Connectivity Analyzer. Okay, this is more on this is a web-based tools connectivity analyzer. Let's say if you have a problem with connectivity, let's say Office 365 connectivity issues happen. Let's say you cannot send out email, IMAP email issues, or inbound email, you cannot receive email, you cannot send out email. Those are the testing you'll be able to do from here. There's many different options. It depends which one we need. At the moment, I can check like, IMAP email. I can say this is the details. IMAP server host is this one, SSL port number 993. This is a secret port. Enter the character you see. You are verified for next 30 minutes. That's why understand and perform test. I just want to check whether IMAP connectivity is okay for our portal or not. So in this way, you can test. Yes, it's slow at the moment, but you can test from here. Same way, Exchange Server related with more on premises, Microsoft Teams, Skype for Business. Or for all individual stuffs, we have this stuffs. Saying sign in. After that, once you logged in, so basically this is the informations, and we click perform the test. It's testing IMAP for this user, and it will tell whether our email connection is okay for this user or not. So in this way, we can say, okay, these are the lot of stuffs already been done. Check the log and authentications and everything, it checks already, but the result is okay. Oh, connectivity test fails. Testing this one on host this device, the IMAP test failed. Okay, so there are some issues. IMAP service is being tested. There was an error IMAP service with this, so something happened. And if you go through details, like Microsoft Exchange IMAP service is ready, but authentication, no authenticate failed, but authenticate something happened around that. Error status. So this one requires further investigation, but you can check whether your connectivity is okay or not. So for different services, different like team sign in, whether it is okay or not. So you can check that one as well. That's also, we found some issues that would prevent the user from signing into Teams. So there's some other issues as well. And my message analyzer, this is another thing we have. Some particular email or message header we can put, and after that we can analyze. Or Sarah client, this one, if you click, it will ask you to download, let's say Excel, something happened with Excel, or Office, setup Office activations. You can download those. It says install Microsoft Support and Recovery Assistance. You can download this one. Once you download on premises, then from on premises, you can check or test some applications. So a lot of frequently asked questions, but this is very useful stuffs. It's called Microsoft. Yeah, Microsoft Support and Recovery Assistance. If I open that one, this is, I have already downloaded basically, but if you download this one, this is a apps. With that apps, you can check the connectivity from your on-premises applications to Microsoft 365 and see, like, routing is okay or not, or if something not working, what could be the possible fault. You can see those stuffs. It's asking me to install. Okay, the backend, it will install. So pretty much these are the stuffs we have. So how automatic client configurations works, we need to know. DNS record, which DNS records are important, and for what services, what kind of DNS record we have, we need to know that one. Configure Outlook clients. and troubleshooting client connectivity. These are the topics pretty much we have in these sections. Now we do more configurations and stuffs around that. We just get familiar with the portal and some informations we need to know. But portal management is actually not complicated, not very difficult. Some of the user levels, but understanding is important. So after that, you'll be able to manage users in certain level. So users and groups you can manage from here, but there are some other areas as well which you can manage, and some advanced steps we have. Let's say security, compliance, endpoint managers, identity. So pretty much identity is our Active Directory, Azure Active Directory domain services. Or they changed this name now, Microsoft Entra Admin Center. That is the new name. Part of that, we have all users we can see in here. So we're going to do more work around that areas, but pretty much this is the overview. This is the first chapter. So in first chapters, we have pretty much all the overview of the subscriptions, about the portal, and what are the basic steps we can do with this 365 portal. So this is the things we have looked at.